Honorable Members of Parliament, Provincial Parliament and Municipal Governments, Dr. Halliday, members of the Law Enforcement Agency and media and honored guests. Thank you for your presence here. I have taken on this role to give voice to the voiceless who are facing genocidal circumstances under an oppressive regime in Sri Lanka. I would like to begin by providing a brief history of the Ilam Tamils. Tamils have lived in the island of Sri Lanka for over 2 millennia. We did not come yesterday, as the Sri Lankan government would like you to believe. We have occupied the north and east of Sri Lanka for over 2 millennia, and that's a part we call Tamil Ilam. And we would like to be called Ilam Tamils. That is our identity. However, in 1833, the British who took over the island combined these two nations that existed in the island into one country and laid the foundation for the genocide. It is the British government who joined them together. When they left, they should have separated them. Unfortunately, they left a unitary form of government in which the numerically superior Sinhala majority has continued to oppress the Tamil members because of their numerical minority status. Under various elections, every political party in the south progressively increased the oppression of the Tamils by introducing many forms of discriminatory legislation, starting with making the Buddhism as a state religion, bringing Sinhala as the only national language, bringing in standardization of university admissions and thereby blocking the educational hopes of our young brothers and sisters there. And also they began encroaching on the Tamil territory by state-aided colonization, thereby grabbing the land over the past 6 decades. All of this culminated in 1972 with the promulgation of the new constitution as a republic, which the Tamils did not participate. So we never ceded our sovereignty to the Sinhalese government. And they called the country Sri Lanka, which is the Sinhalese name for the island. So they would like the world to believe there is a Sri Lankan identity. Unfortunately, the Sri Lankan identity is synonymous with the Sinhala Buddhist identity. Many of us, many of the Tamil people, also call Sri Lankan Tamil. I think we should be very careful when we say that, because we are not considered as part of the identity. Even if you look at the flag of Sri Lanka, there is a lion flag with the sword pointing at the 2 stripes that belong to supposedly to represent the minority communities. If it is a majority versus minority issue, that is not the issue in Sri Lanka. It is a nation swallowing another nation. That is the issue in Sri Lanka. That's what we are trying to put a stop. Over the years, from 1972 onwards, and even before that, 1956, 58, 62, 67, you can line up many pogroms against the Tamil people, trying to subjugate them time and again. Numerous commissions appointed by the government over the years produced not a single conviction. So here is the government and the governments that we are expecting some justice to be given to the Tamil people. Unfortunately, most of the non-violent struggle, which did not succeed because of the violent reaction from the government, it led to the armed struggle by the Tamil people. Because of the parity of status achieved through the armed struggle, the LTTE and the government of Sri Lanka entered into a peace accord. Unfortunately, our struggle was painted as a terror, war on terror. The government of Sri Lanka managed to convince a few influential members of the international community and got on the war on terror bandwagon. And that resulted in the undermining of the peace accord. Unfortunately, our own Canadian government did not really understand what the Tigers were fighting for. And they were branded as terrorists. And as a result, people like me who talk in support of the Tamil people also potentially could be branded as terrorists by the government of Sri Lanka. And that they did that yesterday in the paper. So, I am not be afraid of that label, because I believe in my heart that I am fighting for the rights of our own people. Nobody can deny my rights. I think every one of us, as a Canadian, it's a Canadian trait. We have been fighting around the world for the emancipation of oppressed people. I think that is a Canadian trait. Over the time, by 2009, Sri Lankan government pulled out of their court. It is not the Tigers who pulled out of their court. It's 2008, Sri Lankan government pulled out of their court because they thought that they could decimate. And they also used illegal weapons, chemical weapons, cluster bombs against civilians. They herded people into no-fire zones and then massacred them. Even today, they found skeletons in the eastern port city of Trincomalee. They already found skeletons in the Mannar port city. So these are all needs to be investigated. I think it all can only be done through an independent international investigation. 5 years on, at the end of the war, with the conflict is still raging on. Fertile agricultural lands have been taken over from the people. Army has brought in families and they're continuing to cultivate these areas and they're selling their produce in the market, thereby putting our own Tamil farmers out of business. This is a form of genocide. It is trying to grab the land, it is trying to grab the livelihood of the people and basically making them subsistence level. So if you starve the people, they will never ask for their rights. So this is the ploy the government is using. There are over 146,000 people who are unaccounted for. There are more than 90,000 war widows who are continuously being subjected to sexual harassment. And there are many combatants who are still in jail. So these are all needs to be investigated. So numerous commissions have been appointed by the government and nothing has happened, come out of it. So as a result of that, I think we are demanding that the UN have an independent international investigation in Sri Lanka with adequate protection for the Tamil people living inside the island, witness protection program, and at the same time punish the people who are found guilty. It is also important that we need to have a referendum in the Tamil homeland and in the diaspora so that we can gauge the interests of the people and get the people to decide what they want to do. I thank you for your attention and thank you for placing the trust in me. நான் இந்த உரையை முடிக்கும் முன்னர் சுருக்கமாக சொல்லப்போனால் நேஷனல் கவுன்சில் அதாவது கனடிய தமிழர் தேசிய அவையின் சார்பாக நாங்கள் ஐநா சபையில் எமது பிரச்சனையை கொண்டு வந்து UNHCR மூலமாகவும் இந்த சர்வதேச சுதந்திரமான ஒரு விசாரணையை கொண்டு வந்து அதன் மூலமாக எங்கள் மக்களுக்கு ஒரு நிவர்த்தியாக ஒரு சர்வஜன வாக்கெடுப்பை நடத்துவதற்கு முயற்சிப்போம். இந்த வகையில் இதுதான் ஒரே ஒரு வழி. இந்த வழியை நாங்கள் சந்தர்ப்பத்தை நழுவ விடாமல் தொடர்ந்து அயராது உழைப்போம் என்று கேட்டுக்கொண்டு விடைபெறுகின்றேன். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.